Hello and welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Dina. Thank you for joining. So today I have laid out quite a few cards, and let's go ahead and set the space. Thank you all for tuning in. Much gratitude for sharing your energy and attention with me. And let's call in all unconditionally loving beings, spirit, source, gather here today and allow us to get the highest possible messages out in the time we have. So, laid out today, I'm going to say that the overarching theme is going to be the need to communicate something, most likely in a one-to-one, possibly intimate or romantic engagement here, but communicating something nonetheless with an individual or a number of people in your life, either about new standards, limits, or your own sense of self-worth, which is gathering some type of in need to get things back into right order, back into integrity, something that has slipped out of alignment. And so to start us out, before I go over the cards laid out, let's go ahead and get some cards from the Whispers of the Oracle deck here. We had Childlike Devotion that came up a few times on the pre-shuffle. Childlike Devotion is, the innocence, and it does go along with what we have here. But let's, I don't know, something doesn't want to come out. Are we going to get a card? Let me split the deck here and flip through one more time. All right, I'll take the top one here. Underneath is polite declaration, right? 19. You can move in whatever direction you need to accomplish your goals. It's time for you to get out there, claim what is yours, and stay in your power. Absolutely. Is that a hermit crab? Some type of crab. And with crab, the one thing that always sticks in my head is, well, two things. Number one, the sideways approach, because as far as I know, crabs don't necessarily walk forward or backward, they walk sideways. And so it's like the indirect approach can yield better results. And maybe that's why it's called polite declaration. But the secondary thing is that the crab, much like the turtle, which came through in a recent reading, which was also about declaring some type of new standard, new limitation with something that had gotten out of alignment. That with the shell on the back, it's that no matter where you go, your body is your home. And if it has become constricting or too tight for you to navigate and move around and stretch your energetics, then perhaps it's time to upgrade. And hermit crab, I'm remembering I don't remember the name of the author, the same one who wrote Hungry Caterpillar, and some others wrote Hermit Crab Gets a New Home or something like that. And he realizes that he's outgrown his shell and he needs to go out and find a new one. So he ultimately has to leave his shell, and then he finds this other shell, but it's a little bit too roomy, and so he's going around and he thinks it's boring, so he keeps encountering different beings. And it's a book about counting for children, and so he finds one of this thing, two of that thing, three of this being, onward and onward. And by the time he gets all of these new friends joining him on this journey, all of a sudden he realizes once again he's outgrown his area, his shell, his home, and he needs to find yet another home. And so this can sometimes be something that it doesn't matter if it's a community engagement or going from one job to the next, or from one idea about interpersonal relating or not. If we've outgrown a certain dynamic, it's up to us to sit back and contemplate and refresh the moment to see what it is that we need and what it is that we can do proactively to receive that, and what needs to go. Do we need to simplify and declutter in order to have that energetic space in our home and stay there, or otherwise? You get the point. Every step counts. Number 10, there is an advantage in taking things slowly. Breathe deeply and fully as you consider your options. Interesting. I have no idea what this being is. It's reminding me of something. I can't quite draw it in. Some kind of like the yellow is hair on a purple being. Perhaps it'll come to me, but every step counts, polite declaration. So this may happen that there are some things that need to be written down or really thought through, meditated upon, things that are so-called missing in our lives, any sense of emptiness, loss, or longing, so to speak, needs to be accounted for, and a plan made. And every little step helps us get there. So if we're already encountering the awareness that something is missing or needs to be brought back into alignment, that is already well on our way to figuring out the next step and thus the next. So moving into the cards, I only pulled 3 cards from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle deck. The lighting in here leaves a bit to be desired. Consciousness, left on the bottom of the deck, says the frequency of consciousness supports our ability to focus our attention on all of the multidimensional aspects that show up so that we can include them in our reality. And for me, this is bringing into the awareness all those things that we just mentioned, but also what does it take in order for us to be a conscious co-creator in any type of interpersonal dynamics, whether that's with community, workplace, home life, family, lover, so on. The 3 cards I've laid out top to bottom are number 5, throat chakra, the 2nd chakra, number 2, sacral chakra, and then 39, romantic love. So the throat chakra, of course, has to do with all types of communication happening on others' end, happening on our end, happening above and below, the shadow aspects of self that arise, the higher aspects that come to kind of create this alchemical mixture that is coming up in emotional and energetic dis-ease or comfort. How are we feeling, and are we tapping deeply into that? Because sacral chakra really, to me in this moment, is talking about the gut brain and that gut feeling. Are we listening to our intuition, which can be mingled with narratives and with overthinking? And are we also regarding the gut instincts and influences that are like for instance, waking up and just feeling like I can't today, or I don't want to go to that place, or I'm dreading being in a one-on-one situation with this one individual, such as the one person at work that you've got to work with today, that is like you got to really steel your nerves to deal with this individual for one reason or the next. So this says the frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. So over the last few months, I know that I have laid out a lot of different of my ideas of what potentially could be thought about and worked through and proposed, such as, if somebody's of a lower mindset and keeps talking in one direction that feels unsettling or drags us down, drains us, or such? Is there a way that we can uplift the conversation? But beyond that, it really seems like you're looking for some consciousness co-creation beings in your life that will help you to feel deeply connected. That sense of co-belonging and co-creation, to me, is really connected with the feelings when we interact in a situation. Is it draining? Is it fulfilling? Do we leave it feeling just lit up and creative and inspired? So then across from each of these, I've laid out 4 cards each to clarify from the mixed shamanic deck. Underneath the shamanic deck, same as one of the cards we had yesterday, the crossing, initiation. So I don't know if you can see in this card, I'm going to look, coyote below that. It says, though the pathway may not be direct, it may not be a straight line. There's a bit of tricks up the universe's sleeve, so to speak, that are trying to, I wouldn't say trick us, 1111, and this is the 12 card, not to trick us, but into inspiring us through deducing things ourselves. So I don't know if that makes sense. We'll come back to it if it has greater meaning. But on this 54 card, you may be able to perceive this long shadow, and then there's a being here, and this appears to be a great big portal, and here's that narrow passageway that is leading up to the portal and beyond. So this came out yesterday with the ego sublimation card with this mirror that had been shattered. And it's like with Gemini, which is where the sun is at right now, and we just had the full moon yesterday, which put that Gemini sun in opposition to the Sagittarian moon. And it's really shining a light on our need for greater adventure, excitement, freedom, self-expression, and to speak on higher matters, and to connect deeply with others, to see the mirroring in others. And with that ego sublimation, there was a message yesterday about perhaps thinking that we're in something for one reason, but then finding out later that sometimes different ideals could have been misplaced. And I'm seeing that with coyote. It's like that was the little trick, that it wasn't that we were going in the wrong direction. It was that we had to take that detour in order to pick up some type of awareness that had eluded us previously. And in that detour, there is growth, there is fertility, there's creativity. But not to blame the coyote, not to shoot the messenger, as the saying goes, but to allow the awareness, or the illusion, let's even say, that the other was our mirror, that they were like us. Everybody is their own, but we are all very much alike, right? But we're alike in our differences. I know this is almost like a riddle, but that's the coyote speaking through the situation. It's like if there's any type of confusion, it may not be on purpose. It's something that's elusive. And with that shattered mirror, it's like seeing through our own reflection in the other to ask and draw forth the clarity from each other. Perhaps both individuals are on opposite ends, both being confused and cannot see through the mirror into the other. And so until we breach the limitations and the veil of ego, which operates in all of us for many reasons, good and bad and indifferent, neutral perhaps, that's the initiation phase of being able to see through the mirror. And in this moment, I'm seeing, I don't know if any of you have ever done mirror gazing at the self, into your eyes, whether you're speaking or doing affirmations, or just simply out of curiosity, taking in yourself, taking in changes, or taking in your features, not just that some of us will pick apart the things that we'd like to change. Others will just kind of be like, oh, yep, my hair isn't sticking straight up. Good to go. Boom, on the road. But like taking the time to really gaze into the reflection, into the eyes, and sometimes the actual appearance can start to bend and shift and change if we're looking for things. And I think that that's the beginning of when we're sensing and seeing the energetics and the aura and the ebb and flow of things. And it's also reminding me, once I did one of those, I don't remember the proper terminology for it, but one of those aura photography sittings. And while they had me on there, they hadn't screenshot it yet. And I wanted to kind of see, is this all, accurate? And so I was like, well, can I turn it this color? And I started getting all energized and being more assertive and fired up, and it started turning red. And she says, no, don't do that. Just relax. And, oh, okay. And so I relaxed and I took some deep breaths, and then it started getting back down into the different colors that ultimately came through. And but it was almost to say, well, how can you say that is my aura if it's changing based on my expression at any given time? Then who's to say that I am this thing or this thing or this state of being or this type of personality, or that this person says I'm this person says I'm that, but I'm all of this and more, all of this and better. And this comes into play here when we're communicating through that threshold, the initiation, the crossing the threshold here into something bigger, better, faster, more. And so let's get into these shamanic cards. Clarifying the throat chakra, our need to express on multi-dimensional levels, telepathically and so on, with individuals, with situations, with ourself, and with the great beyond, with past, present, future timelines, this timeless quality of self. This 42 card comes out, Netcaster, preparations come to fruition. And her beingness, she only has a beingness down to about the sacral chakra and then no legs here. Her body is made up of this net. And I know that some of you probably can't handle it when I jump around, but from that point, I just want to carefully put these two by each other. Can you see the net type of scales on that Fool's Embrace card? So that comes almost to the dead last. It's second to last here, the 22 card to the 42 card. So Netcaster, I'm seeing this as somebody who's highly busy, highly active in the energetic realms, in the spiritual realms, somebody otherworldly with this consciousness fishy quality here. And it's like they've been spending a lifetime braiding out this net, and they've got this huge basket at their side. And I'm sensing that someone has been cultivating something extreme and generating plans, making a huge plan, having an enterprise. Perhaps this is just you being the manager of your own life and world and relationships, but I'm sensing it's somebody with more of an entrepreneurial or a leadership quality with whoever this situation is pertaining to. And that you've got this net, you know what you want, you're waiting and waiting to capture those right things. You've been prepared, you've advocated, you've expressed, and you've been waiting for something to come through. And having perhaps prepared your speech or your limits or boundaries or your points of discussion for this meeting or presentation. Even if it's a presentation, it doesn't have to be a negative talk that needs to happen. It's something bringing things back together again, back into alignment with this lost compass, getting back to integrity. Something is shining through this net. It's like if there were holes in the net, they've been repaired so that nothing can slip through. And having perhaps overcompensated or sacrificed overly for a situation, you're like, I'm pulling back some of my resources because there's something coming at my expense that, whether or not it's others' demands or my overgiving nature, or taking care of something too much, there's a need to bring things back into a balance. And then 21, first breath, beginner's mind. Again, that cosmic type, otherworldly influence here, where the mask is worn on this individual, having all these balls in the air, holding up the cosmos by yourself. It's like waiting for individuals to come on board, but in the absence of buy-in or collaboration, you've been doing it yourself. And then finishing this row, the staff. And the staff, number 51, is, it's like, you were really made for this, and it is within your capacity, but that doesn't mean it's your burden. It's your blessing, of course, but there's greater authority here and greater leadership coming online here. I'd say that you've learned a lot and a lot of wisdom has come through you into this situation, and it's brilliant. There's something brilliant happening here that you are communicating with a new level of authority and a gentle declaration about your needs and your demands, might I say. So if you're going in for a job or if you're marketing, let people know. Don't say, well, prices are variable. No, set your price a little bit high if you need to, not out of people's wheelhouse, but within reason. But go in strong and then do the deal making on the backside. Go high so that people feel they're getting a deal. So if you have demands, don't be wishy-washy about it, but don't also be inflexible, because there's some type of compromise necessary, but not at your expense. So go in knowing what your base level is. And if it's below your baseline, then maybe that's not the one for you. I mean, those jobs, if they want the good candidate, they will pay. I have had a job in the past where I was leaving a real toxic situation. I quit without something lined up. And then I went in there and I told her what I needed, and she couldn't get it where they needed it. But she went to the higher ups and got me something that I could deal with. So I should have gone higher. I really should have, but I didn't. And that was on me. Clarifying sacral chakra. The first one out is Jaguar, 28. This one at first was a little bit obscure to me. It's this brooding jaguar, seeming to me like a consultant, a reluctant consultant. Like, individuals need your time, they need your guidance, but perhaps it's, again, taking away from something else or not giving back the full amount of fulfilling reciprocity. It isn't an equally balanced exchange. So if your time is money, then it may be time to adjust your rates. It may be time to limit your time investment, something like this. Jaguar is really brooding on something, has taken a step back to really contemplate something, but there's some type of a disappointment, dare I say. And he's looking at the next card here, the preceding card. So Jaguar 28, 27 is the Hunter. The Hunter card here is this earthly individual, very integrated with earthly totem animals, perhaps also wearing a mask, probably has a lot of earthly, worldly, third dimensional concerns, probably has an active mind, fourth dimensional confusion. But with Jaguar, I'm sensing that you're more of the fifth dimensional, and Netcaster and First Breath seem to be evidenced of your energy here. And staring kind of at the Hunter, at them and through them, it's like, there they go again. It's like, there it goes. whatever that means. And so this individual is coming through not with a malicious energy in here, but the distracted energy in a different, perhaps, level. Not to say one's above or better or lower or whatever, but that the two of you may be on different pages and they're out busy hunting, seeking, doing their thing, and you're left holding the bag. And so the next card, 49, soul retrieval. I couldn't remember this word for a long time yesterday in the reading, but it came out yesterday's reading. 49. It's busting forth of the chrysalis, and this comes right over that 22 card that I'd already shown you guys, the Fool's Embrace. And this one often looks like that chrysalis being busted out when, the wings are still kind of curled in and haven't quite fluffed out and dripped off the moisture, if you know what I'm saying, from that from the growth process, the alchemical process of rewriting one's inner states. And because of that looped staff, I always take that as Hermes staff, which reminds me of DNA. And soul retrieval reminds me about, defragging the computer and then building the pathways back up. It's like taking things apart, taking the neural net down to its base constituents. Is that the right terminology? Whatever. So taking things down to their parts, down to the base metals, down to the base materials, maybe reevaluating the cost benefit analysis of production of an item that you have in mind, or an invention, or the dynamics of a relationship. It all kind of works the same if you can follow. So soul retrieval works the same way. If there's any disregarded or hidden or underexpressed parts of ourselves, judged parts of ourselves, or any type of stress or trauma that has led us to disowning any part of the self, for better or for worse, then we're able to potentially regather that all back in together, kind of take everything apart, just like the caterpillar does. I know I'm apologizing if this is gross to you, but it kind of liquefies its entire makeup and then rewrites its DNA to become from caterpillar into butterfly, or even moth. In this situation, it looks a little more mothy to me. But then it emerges from that chrysalis state. So this may be the time of repairing your nets and the time of retreat, where you've really been thinking about things here, that in the first line, and we haven't gone to the lower level yet. So soul retrieval, I think that we get that. We're really having this convergence of everything past, present, future, and all that we are and aspire to become and to express and to bring these things forward, to be appreciated, to be loved for everything that we are, and to call in others and to love and appreciate them for all that they are, without feeling any overly expressed stress or resentments or frustrations from holding that bag yourself. I'll move on. At the end of this row following soul retrieval, empty well, time to replenish. So we started out with sacral chakra. What do we deserve, and how are we really feeling? And then jaguar, this brooding, withdrawn, tapped out energy, looking at someone else expectantly, like, isn't there more you can do for me? And I'm not saying we're demanding in that way, but sometimes when we're over giving, we don't understand why the energy exchange is imbalanced. But sometimes the need for withdrawal is exactly that. The well is empty, not always because others should, would, or could do more for us, but because we are entering a phase where we're acknowledging we need to make more space for refilling our stores. And it seems to be at the beyond this ring of fire, which is also this portal showing up here. It's the part of this is like our ability to devour oneself, like the phoenix, like this butterfly caterpillar imagery, to go through the ring of fire, to be burned down and rise from the ashes into this more cosmic light body, crystalline form, from the cauldron of the cosmos, to step forth in more of our luminous body and form. So it's time to replenish yourself and to give yourself time, space, and expression, and to politely declare these needs and to make space. And, if somebody needs you, I'd love to be there for you. But you know what? This week, I'm not taking new appointments. This weekend, I've got to call off. I've got to do gardening. It's time to see to our own needs and to put everybody else on hold if we're able. Extenuating circumstances are what they are. Last line, romantic love. So whether, like I said, whether this happens in romantic love for yourself or not, becoming more in the flow of life, in the flow state, takes us to be in that playful, childlike awareness state. And how often can we really have that beginner's mind? So often in life, we become heavy by burdens, by this whole adulting mess and what we think that it means and how others have or haven't modeled it correctly. In this line, we have 48, the sorcerer, looking directly at romantic love, like, what does romance mean to me? What do I need from it, and what am I giving to it, and is there equal exchange? The sorcerer is conjuring healing in this situation. From the up to down level here is preparation coming to fruition. Something big is coming in for you because you've taken time to contemplate what you needed in the situation here. I reversed those. And then at the bottom, this chakra rainbow here, educating us on what we need and envisioning it and calling it in. There's right behind your back this corn, which is like this corn maze, confusion, fairies. It's more of that coyote energy, like, can I get it? Is this person on board? And that comes below, getting back to integrity, hunter and corn. So it's like, is there fulfillment here for me? And the next one, that Fool's Embrace card below, beginner's mind and soul retrieval. The beginner's mind comes through releasing and renewing the self. And the last card here is Horseman, Herald of Change, below your authority with the staff and that alchemical change, and the empty well, time to replenish. You're replenishing your very body, mind, soul, and you're setting yourself up for new momentum. And it's like moving forward with gusto and knowledge that your consciousness in every step that you take is really making a change. So we're running out of time. So the last one here is Mantra Shakti, which comes out on the split. So Shakti is that uprising Kundalini energy, speaking it into being, speaking your highest capacity and not your grievances. This is what I deserve. This is what I desire. This is where I'd like to go. Let's not point fingers. Let's not talk about what's been done. And let's see where we can go from there. So I hope that this has been meaningful.